either you are perfectly healthy mentally or you're mad. So there is no in between the two. What you're finding is that a lot of these leaders are thriving on divisiveness, and by dividing people, they are winning elections.
Hello everyone, my name is Arpit and welcome to the show called Talk About It. And the question is, why don't we? Why don't we talk about a million things that go through our minds every day? So, to discuss one such topic, that is mental health, we have our first guest here, Mr. Yousuf Alikhan. Mr. Yousuf hails from India. He's traveled all across the world. He's lived in UAE, London before settling in Australia. He's worked in companies like Merrill Lynch, Macquarie, and he's one of the top financial planners in Australia.
Actually left India in 79.
79, so...
Yes, and I went to Dubai, and from there I got transferred. I was working with Merrill Lynch, got transferred to UK.
Okay.
And from there I made a conscious choice to move to Australia. I came here once just to have a look. When we were in UK, we thought of moving elsewhere. We had a look at US, we had a look at other places, but we decided on Australia because it's a lot more family-friendly country.
How did you start your financial planning career in Australia, sir? I know you were a stockbroker with Macquarie first.
Yes.
So when did you move and make the shift?
When I moved here, I actually started working with a local stockbroker called Wilson HTM. Then within 3 months or so, got headhunted to Prubesh, which is an American firm which was setting up the international operations. So I headed the international operations here. And after some time, Merrill Lynch was opening here. So I moved to Merrill Lynch, managed the Queensland operations here as an operations manager, and then moved to BNP Paribas, and finally to Macquarie. Now, having moved so many companies, I decided I needed to have something more stable, which is have my own, and that's how I came into financial planning.
Wow, that's a wonderful journey. So let's start our next segment, which is basically why I started the show, discussing about issues that no one discusses in their daily life. So things like mental health issues. So just talking about that, what are your thoughts on rising mental health issues?
Yeah, it is like many other things which are there, but this is a taboo, a topic which we don't want to talk about, especially if you're coming from the subcontinent. There are only either you are perfectly healthy mentally or you're mad. So there is no in between the two. So either आप पागल हैं या अच्छे हैं. Because there are many different types of mental illnesses.
Yeah, and many stages. It's a whole wide range, right? And that's so true. India में कुछ होता है किसी को, it's a psychiatrist. People can go just for a chat as well. And एक visit हुई और लोग बोलने लगते हैं अरे वो तो पागल है.
It's a good, what you're doing is a good initiative to educate people that it is not someone who goes to a psychiatrist or a psychologist is a mad person. The way the chemicals in your brain tend to react. And if there is a deficiency of a certain chemical, your brain reacts in a certain way. And depression, to put it very simply, there is a deficiency of a certain chemical. You asked me, the other question is that why it is on the rise. I think partly because of the fact that there is more awareness about it, more people are aware of it, so that's why you're hearing more people talking about depression. That's
so it's always been there.
Yes. Yeah. In the past, when I was growing up, nobody actually there was no such thing as depression. So
now people have started identifying the disorders, but otherwise earlier it was just being sane or insane.
Yes, and also I think there has been a lot of education of the medical profession itself, of how to identify. So they are in a better position, better equipped to sort of identify. In the past, they didn't know what you're talking about. Feeling down doesn't mean depression. If you have a period where you're feeling down for for a period
Couple
of
of days,
time,
yeah.
not couple of days, but for a
Couple of
very
weeks,
long time,
months, yeah.
yeah, and you're not able to sort of do your regular routine, you're not able to concentrate, you're not able to focus, that actually leads to depression. That is how they define it as depression. You don't have interest in doing things which you would normally do. Then it could be depression. So you need to seek some kind of a medical. I mean, in the last, I would say, 3-4 years, I have gone through depression. I wasn't able to focus. I wasn't able to sort of do my daily tasks, and that continued for a few years. It was affecting my work. It was affecting the way I approached the work, because it is very difficult
To recognize that.
To recognize that.
Yeah.
It took me a long time. I took all these online tests. So, and I said, it will go away. I'm passionate about music, as you know. Starting not to take interest in your passion, that's when you start to sort of feel that something may be wrong. Most of the general practitioners, they will go through a test and things like that. And if they think that you are even mildly depressed, there are programs which you don't have to go to a psychiatrist. They will then sort of put you on to a psychologist for a few sessions. I think normally you can get up to 6 sessions with a psychologist. And if you don't improve after that, they can put you onto a medication, which actually sort of helps you it just acts
Get your
as
chemicals right in the head, right?
more than
Balance them.
It's not a balancing act. It just sort of gives you those chemicals so that you can get out of that loop. Because basically when you're depressed, you're in a loop. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you are trying to sort of, you don't know how to get out of it. And what the medicine does and what these psychologist sessions do is actually try to talk you out of it so that you can get out of that loop and get back to normal. So that is what basically, and I think you should seek help. And
Just like any other illness, you go to
if you have
GP.
flu, you go to the doctor, and the first call is the GP. Go to the GP and have a chat with them, and then take it from there. Your head is part of your body too.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
So you have to treat it like any other illness. That it's a good initiative. Yes.
Thinking, why is it on the rise, and what could be the triggers of mental health issues? Current fast-paced life with social media everywhere and people trying to look happy on their Facebook posts, but when you actually go to meet that person, they're just lying on the couch and seeing other people's posts.
We're also sort of living in a very fast-paced world where we don't have time to ourselves, where we can think through issues, where we can sort of spend more time with ourselves. And when you have time to yourself, you're not with yourself, because basically what you're doing is
ahead.
not just planning ahead. What you're doing is you're looking at your Facebook, you're looking at your social media, you're looking at your WhatsApp message. So in the past, we had only, I mean, you're too young to understand this, but we had a phone, and that was a fixed phone. But that made communication very rare in the sense. I mean, like, for instance, if you had to call someone, and they were very expensive, the calls, you had to sort of make a phone call through the landline, or you went and visited that person. So there wasn't this bombardment of messages and social media, which you're getting email, you're getting a WhatsApp message, you're getting a Facebook message, you're getting...
Hobbies are no more there. People don't have hobbies anymore. They just work all day.
Yep.
And weekends, I think they just look for a spot where they can click pictures and upload it on Facebook. So there's no time for hobbies. So I think it's the same with me as well. I'm saying other people do that, but when I was a child, I was growing up, I used to like painting. But I can't remember when was the last time I painted.
Oh, you should take it up. I mean, if you did that. And that's important that we do spend time on ourselves, on our hobbies and our interests. We live in what we call, this term is used for politicians, but a sound bite world. So we are looking for that good snap to go on the Facebook. We are looking for a good comment on Facebook or whatever it is. The picture is good. So we are looking for approval from others all the time. The only approval which you need is approval from yourself. What you think of yourself is more important.
Likes on your pictures have become sort of equivalent to your bank balance.
What you're finding is that the world in general is becoming more divisive. When I first came, there were hardly few people around. So when we went for a Indian movie, we knew everyone in the theater.
Yeah. Okay.
So everyone was known to you.
It's like a big family watching a movie together.
We would have samosas, we would have tea, someone would bring something else, and it was more of a social event.
It was a potluck as well in the theater.
Yes.
Cool.
But as and that meant, when I said everyone, it just didn't mean Indians. It meant Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Sri Lankans, so most of the people from South Asia. So they would sort of be like a big family. As the population grew, we started to divide. We had form association. We had a Gujarati, Punjabi, Bangladeshi, all kinds of associations. So then they started to divide. So it became more divisive. Rather than people coming together, it is our natural tendency to be divisive. Birds of the same feather flock together. That you create differences. You need to look for the commonality. It is good to have your own groups, but at the same time, do not get insular in those groups. You need to find that there is a commonality. There is basically, we are all human beings, and try to make this world a better place.
Beautiful, sir. Exactly. So what do you feel is the main cause of divisiveness? People tend to divide themselves based on their place of origin, based on their religion, based on their political opinions, ideologies. In India, as everyone knows, it's the religion that divides people.
The divisiveness has always been there. I mean, but what has changed in the past, let's say, 10, 15 years or so? In the past, people would still give you space. If you are of a different opinion, or if you're of a different religion, different color, whatever it is, they would give you space. You can be yourself, and I can be myself. But I would respect what you are, and you would respect the view which I have got. So that gave me space. But what has changed is, and that is to a great extent due to the political discourse, because the leaders, who are the political leaders are, set the trend. And what you're finding is that a lot of these leaders are thriving on divisiveness. And by dividing people, they are winning elections. So it is a strategy for them. And if the world is very divided, as Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye will lead the whole world blind. Because if I think I am right and you think you are right, we are bound to have friction.
It's not about agreeing to everything. It's just, I think, being civil. People are not civil anymore. It's like, if you disagree with me, stop talking to me. America had actually celebrated a National Week of Conversation in April, where the goal was to listen to and talk to each other. So while having civil conversation and not necessarily agreement. A civil conversation can solve the problem of divisiveness to some extent. That's what I think. What are your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I think we should have a week for just conversation, not just civil conversation, but conversation.
Exactly.
Because
Conversation in the first place. Yeah.
yeah, because most of the time, even with my children, we correspond on WhatsApp. It is much easier to pick up the phone and talk. So we don't talk. Yeah, so I think we should have a week for conversation where we can put the phone down and
That's a good idea.
just have a conversation with someone else.
Someone else, yeah. As we're doing right now. Yeah.
As we are doing right now. The other thing which, I mean, you asked me about divisiveness, and the other thing which I personally think is contributing to this divisiveness, apart from the political discourse which we are getting from our leaders, is also the role of social media. That if you are on Facebook, whatever you like, Facebook then feeds you with the same thing.
Same kind of information, yeah.
Same kind of information. So what happens is that whatever view you have got, it just cements that view. You don't get a perspective of what are the different views. So to make a proper judgment, you would need to sort of have...
get a perspective from all the sides.
And a lot of it is fake.
A lot of it is fake, yeah.
And I would suggest check the source.
So I read somewhere it's sort of like a vicious cycle that starts when a group is threatened or it's attacked. Let's suppose it's a group of Indians and one of the Indians got a racist remark from someone else. So the whole group will then unite and they will hit back to the other group, and then that group will feel threatened and there was another word, mistreated. They become more, yeah, and then they become more us versus them, and then this keeps going on, and it becomes a cycle.
A lot of it is perceived. It's not just real threat. They feel threatened, and a lot of the views which I find which are divisive come from the fact that people feel threatened. It all comes to objectivity. If you sort of look at something, if someone is telling you something, look at it closely, examine it, whether that person is telling you something which makes sense.
Exactly.
If it doesn't
you need
make
to be
sense,
more open to other people's views.
Yes, accept them, at least listen to them.
Listen to them. You don't have to agree with everything other people say. Obviously you'll have your opinion, but you can just say we can agree to disagree, right?
Yes.
But in a civil manner.
Yes.
So you have your opinions. I respect that, but I have mine, and I have the right to hold my opinions to myself. Yes. But we'll still be civil, and we'll have coffee or whatever. So I think that's where we should be headed now. Including remarks from you on mental health and why it should be taken seriously.
Mental illness is part of life. We go through a lot of stresses. We go through a lot of situations which we disagree with. We think that something bad is going to happen, and it may not happen. So we perceive it. We think that that's going to happen.
We keep thinking about other people as well.
Other people may be bad.
What are they thinking about me? Am I doing everything right? And need to post more on Facebook. That's how.
Yeah, you've got that pressure too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, so have to upload a picture every week.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's all these different pressures are there. So it puts, consciously or subconsciously, it puts pressure on you.
It puts, definitely. Yeah.
So if you start sort of looking at it more objectively, what happens if I don't sort of post a picture today or this week?
Exactly.
Is the world going to come to an end? No, it's not. So
I'll lose my followers on Facebook, on Instagram.
So is it that bad?
People live for that these days. I have a friend. She's become pretty famous now because she posts a lot on Facebook and Instagram and everywhere. So she makes sure that she dresses well every day, and she goes to one fun place or one good place every day or every second day so that she can post. And it's such an added pressure. I have another friend. We were celebrating someone's birthday late at night, that midnight cake cutting thing. The guy walked in and he was like, oh wow, thank you guys. And this wife's phone's battery ran out and वो upload नहीं कर पा रही थी. So उसने सबको रोक दिया कि रुक जाओ, don't do anything, and it's not working. So she actually ruined the whole surprise for the guy, and then she used someone else's phone, logged into Snapchat, and then she said, okay, we're all ready now, like you're surprised now again, and make sure you look good for the pictures. And I was like, really? Is it that important? She ruined everyone's mood.
Yeah.
So it's an added pressure for some people.
It is an added pressure, and you were talking about your friend who posts on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think the advice she should give her followers is get a life, Basically have all these pressures, which is adding to the stresses, and we need to sort of take a step back and look at it whether it is that really that important. And as far as mental illness is concerned, it is real. It happens to millions of people. We need to recognize it, but if there is a persistence of this condition, then they should go and see a general practitioner.
Exactly, and don't listen to people who say that it's just a phase and you'll get over it, just have some alcohol or something, right?
That's the thing which you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because I can tell you about a friend of mine, and he went through severe depression, very successful person, and he started to have depression, and what he did was to cope with it, started drinking, and he became an alcoholic. Now, in the process, he lost his wife, he lost his business, he basically was shunned by his own friends because he would sort of come and make a mess each time you called him, start shouting and fighting with people. And he used to call me, he used to have accidents, he lost his driver's license, all that kind of things. And he used to call me and cry on the phone. They had a supportive family that took him away. He's fine now. But the fact is, alcohol is the worst thing which you can have in depression, because it will just magnify, reinforce the whole process. You don't know how to get out of it.
And as we all know, you're a wonderful singer. We can't let you go without singing a song. So what is the apt song that you would like to? Just 2 lines, sir, please.
ठीक है, मैं एक जगजीत का सुना देता हूँ. दुनिया 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 जिसे कहते हैं, जादू का खिलौना है, मिल जाए तो मीठी है, हो जाए तो सोना है.
Let's face it, we don't openly talk about a lot of things. But have we ever wondered, why don't we? This show is all about that. We'd like this video to reach maximum audience, so please like, share and subscribe. And if you'd like us to continue making such videos, please donate whatever little you can through the link below. Thank you.